Hey everybody, it's Karen Anderson here with Aortic Hope for our weekend review. I'm so happy to be back. I was gone 1 week on vacation, gone another with no voice to speak of due to my second bout of COVID. So pardon me ahead of time if I cough out a lung in the middle of this live broadcast. I'm really excited to have Molly Thomas with us here today. But before we get started, we're going to jump right into having you click like. Please click like, please click the bell so that you're subscribed and notified every time we go live, because we don't just go live for these, we go live for so many other things. Like tonight, we're going live with Tara Cohen, Executive Vice President of Lawrence Hope, and we're giving away a gift certificate. You just got to show up and interact. So it's like lottery. You got to play to win. So that's tonight. We'll get into more of that later. Right now, we're going to just jump right into this because we've got a lot of information we want to share with you. So away we go. All right. Movement for movement. We talk about it all the time, how we started this movement, about movement, just kind of getting you guys comfortable with moving your body. You know, there's a page that's on Facebook called Aortic Athletes. So if you're on the Facebook world, this would be a great opportunity for you to check them out. They are all about moving their bodies at whatever level you're at. So this could be just walking, it could be 5K, who knows what it could be. But the great thing I like about that page is they're very motivational and they're very supportive. So if that's really your jam in doing all of that, I suggest you go there. Would be great because it's just highly concentrated and focused. So, all right. Okay. So this started off with, hey, you. Pointing at Molly or whoever else was reading this, the one who's been sitting on the couch for the last hour, scrolling through social media, watching cat videos, although I'm the one that's watching the dog videos. You know, your watch will tell you, it'll ding, and if you have a smart watch, it'll say, don't you think it's time you get up and you move your body a little bit? Like, I know mine does. Mine will say, maybe consider a stretch, you know, and it gets all excited when I actually move. But we do recognize that doing nothing is doing something. And that's really sometimes very important for our bodies. And we know that it's very hard to find the motivation to exercise, especially when there's so many other things that you could be doing with your day, laying at the pool, retail therapy, whatever the case may be. But trust us and trust your doctors. Moving your body is actually really good for you. I mean, it's not only good for you mentally, it's good for you physically, it's good for you emotionally. And here's some ways to help motivate you to move your body, even when you don't feel like it. But again, we're not doctors, so always talk to your physicians first. Find out what he or she says you can or cannot do and where your level of activity should be. Whatever it is, then you need to just do it. But I don't know if you do any of this, Molly. Excuse me. Dance like no one's watching.
Sometimes, because I'm watching and it's not pretty.
So I do it. I have so many TikTok videos saved of these little, 3-second. I don't even call them dancing because I used to dance, but and I'm the one that you see in the car and you know I'm listening to a song because I'm doing this. I'm a savage doing moves in my car. Yeah, I think dancing like no one's watching is a great way to get yourself exercising.
And beyond that, I think it's good for your brain, your head, yourself, everything. It's so, it does make you feel good when you bust a move.
That's right. Exactly. I don't know if you have a pet. I can't remember.
No.
But if you had one, I would say play with your pet. Yeah. So my dog loves her belly rubs, and so I have a big basket of toys. She's a very big Anatolian Shepherd. So she'll come over and take one and just jaunts away thrilled. And then if I don't go in, she'll come back and grab another one and see if that entices me to go after her and get it. Next thing you know, we've got 15 toys out all around her. And she thinks this is fun. I mean, I'm getting in some movement, of course, but it's just a little annoying to me. But they do say if you play with your pet, that gives you some movement or exercise.
And of course, enjoy too.
Right.
It's like gardening too. You wouldn't think that would be a very beneficial exercise, but it is. It is very, very exhausting.
So in my house, my husband does the gardening and I provide the lemonade. That's my job. I watch and I clap and I say, good job, honey. And I admire it because I know by the next day the deer will eat it. That's how that rolls in my home. All right. Number 3, challenge a friend. Nothing like some friendly competition to get you moving. I'll tell you what, Terry on our board, she is extremely competitive. So if we had like a competition to try to motivate each other, she'd get up at 4:30 if she knew she was getting up before the two of us, which she would be getting up before you. You'd maybe just be going to bed. But have a friend to challenge you, to get you to do some of this exercise. What do you say about that?
I think it's a great idea.
I agree.
I mean, sometimes you can just challenge yourself and give yourself like, okay, I danced once today. Tomorrow I'm going to do it twice, or something, just little challenges to just go a little bit further. Yeah, I think it's a great plan, but it's more fun to do something like that with someone else.
Exactly. And then, of course, you need to reward yourself. So the best way to motivate yourself is to bribe yourself. At least that works for me. So if I moved, this says 30 minutes a day. So I believe in moving 30 over the course of a day. I'm getting there. I know you and I talked. I actually did my first workout class in the pool this morning. I got up, excuse me, I got dressed, I drove there, and I participated in the rain. But I kind of also look at it now that I've decided, what's the one cheat thing I want to eat? And I allow myself to eat it like once a day, small, half quantity. And now I'm finding I don't even want the cheat things. But if I move, then I know I can have the little cheat thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a great reward system. I mean, I think as exercise goes, the more you do it, the easier it gets. Yeah. So if you tend to be a couch potato and, maybe just throw the ball to your dog on occasion, something like walking a mile or swimming for 30 minutes is too much.
Right.
If you were to do, you have to start somewhere. And once you start, and if it's something you enjoy, then it just gets easier. And then it becomes a self-motivating exercise that you see so many benefits and you feel so good, no matter how small the exercise is. Yeah.
And to have fun with it. So even if you're just dancing in your house, excuse me, and you want to watch a few videos and just do them over and over again, you can do that. I definitely love being in the pool. So to take a water class, like a toning type of water class, that just makes me happy because I'm in the pool, I'm getting tan, and I'm working out. So it's like a trifecta. I think that's great.
It's a great exercise too. I've been doing a water workout every day for 4 days a week. And I feel it. It feels good. The stamina's there, and it's a lot more thrilling to be in the water. You feel like a little kid sometimes. There's a bunch of old ladies doing it, but we have a good time and we converse and we socialize. And meanwhile, it's a great exercise too if you can get yourself in the pool.
Plus, you can't really hurt yourself. No. I mean, you're not going to fall down.
No.
So it doesn't matter if you don't have great balance or what have you. You're probably doing this in like the 3 to 5 feet. So it ends up being really easy. And then again, you can be kind to yourself. So you don't beat yourself up if you miss the class. You don't beat yourself up if you decide that today truly is the day that I need to do nothing, because that's what my body is craving. And I feel like if you do that, take the time that you need to not do anything, but also do something in the categories of where your doctor has cleared you to do, then it's just going to be a win-win all around.
Absolutely.
All right. Glad to know you agree. All right. Let's move on to Topic Tuesday.
Well, hold on. Gosh. Let's say hi to Bruce Waldrop and Chef Rob Seltzer dropping into the chat.
Hello.
Hi, guys.
Hello, everybody. Nice to have you here with us.
Chef Rob says, hi, Molly. Hi, Karen. You look well. Hi, all.
It's smoke and mirrors. I get my hair done. And I have this brand new Microsoft Teams filter. I read about it in the news. Yeah, thank you. If you had seen me last week, woo, Lord, I had a mat in the back of my hair that I had to hold, and it was like old school trying to brush out those hairs. It was, COVID was evil. All right, get into Topic Tuesday. I love when we have an article from Adam Ahmed, our third-year medical student. I guess at some point, probably after September, I'll be saying fourth year. I have to ask him to remind me when he moves into the 4th year. But basically, we decided to talk about how high risk people, or people that are at higher risk for aortic disease, and all of the different diagnostic tests that we can have done. And he's decided to now begin this series into breaking down these tests. And so one of the first tests he starts off with is ultrasound. This is a test that's done for so many different reasons. It's definitely not strictly for the aorta, although ultrasound can be used for your abdominal aorta. It's typically done to see a variety of issues that could be wrong with the heart. You use ultrasound everywhere to look at the kidneys, to look at all different areas. But basically, Adam went through an article from the Mayo Clinic that talked about how ultrasound, sometimes referred to as sonography or ultrasonography, how it actually works by using sound waves to kind of take those pictures of your body. I don't know about you, but whenever I'm having an echo and I'm looking, you could tell me that I was pregnant and I probably would believe you. You could tell me that you were looking at a cross section of my liver. And other than the fact that I know it isn't because of where the wand is, I would probably believe you. I find all of these tests sometimes so difficult to read until they're those gorgeous 3D aortic images, right? That some of these people are putting out in the community. It baffles my mind. But so ultrasound, not the one that you would want to necessarily go to first if you were of the belief that you could be having a dissection. But if you're going in to check out your thoracic ascending aorta or your arch or areas, chambers of your heart, it's basically used to view superficial things such as anything that's going on in your skin tissue. So people have used them to determine if there's like some type of infection up underneath the skin, but also deeper organs and structures as well, and heart chambers and your aorta. So it can also be used to help out when they need to do a needle guided procedure. They'll use an ultrasound to see where that needle is actually ending up. Like if you needed to have blood taken and you're a really poor blood draw, really difficult, they can use ultrasound now to determine where that artery or vein is, to make sure that they get you on the first or second time and that you're not a pincushion for the day. But basically how it works is it detects the bouncing back of sound waves inside your body and turns them into an image that we can actually see on the screen. And a special gel that you hope is warm so it's not cold is actually used as the medium between the wand and your skin to make sure that these waves aren't lost when they aren't lost like in the air or as they travel around, so you can get a good image of whatever it is you're looking at. So a special type of ultrasound is called a Doppler ultrasound. I know a lot of us have had that done on our carotid arteries, but that actually will allow doctors to see blood movement. So that gives a blue or a red coloring to the blood flow, and that shows the different directions that's happening with that blood flow. And abdominal ultrasounds are actually the most common that's used for screening for an abdominal aortic aneurysm. They typically use these ultrasound machines with a wand. It's non-invasive, it doesn't hurt, but that's typically what they use. And the U.S. Preventative Services Task Force actually recommends that all men age 65 to 75 that definitely have a history of smoking or tobacco use have an abdominal ultrasound to screen to determine if you have an aortic aneurysm or disease. So this is beyond the scope of just if somebody in your family's had one. This is some definitive set parameters that are now being used across our country. And currently evidence regarding the benefit of prophylactic screening in women 65 to 70 with smoking has been shown to be a little uncertain. Definitely consult your physician. If you're a woman between 65 and 70 and you are a smoker or you have been a smoker, you definitely want to talk to your doctor about if they can order this. Again, this would be ordered to kind of rule in or rule out and find your baseline of your abdominal aorta. Can also be used for your thoracic too. But a family history of aneurysms and dissections, it's very important to bring this up during all of your doctor's appointment. And that's that whole think aorta, think family concept we always talk about. This is such an easy test to have, and it is very reliable in determining your baseline size of your aorta in specific areas. There's a whole section that it cannot see It cannot see at all. But in addition to any valve problems, you would just easily have an echo or an ultrasound, and they would be able to determine what, if any, issues you're having. So that was kind of our topic Tuesday. I love these colors. I wish I understood what they meant. First time I saw one, I thought, am I bleeding out? Because I didn't know, but love to get your thoughts on this. What you thinking, Molly? How often do you get echoes?
I get an echo every year now. I was getting them more frequently prior to my dissection. And on occasion, I've gone in and had an echo for various reasons, just a random. So maybe twice a year, but definitely scheduled once a year. It's the Doppler one with the red and the blue, and it shows regurgitation or anything. You know, it is really fascinating. I mean, every time I go in there, I think, I want to be an ultrasound tech so I can understand this, because it is very interesting how they can just find out everything with all this little movement.
I know, right?
Yeah, but it's
really cool.
It's a pleasant experience. It's not one like an MRI, like a cardiac MRI. Those are long. Yeah. You have a warm blanket, the warm gel, you know, a nice person, you know, laying there. It's not a bad experience at all.
Yeah. No, not at all. I think a mammogram is more uncomfortable, and that's not even horribly uncomfortable, but I do think that this is so quick and easy. I mean, you know, except for those few awkward positions when your head's tilted back, or they'll ask you to sniff or something like that. I'm not even too sure I understand why they have you do that, but I don't ask questions. I just go and have it done. Yeah, it's nice, right? It's like a little mini bizarre massage with a wand.
That's a stretch. That's a stretch.
You're right. It is a stretch. It's a stretch. I don't know. I was trying. All right. Let's move on to Therapeutic Thursday. Okay. Feeling down and out, need a boost of motivation. So look no further than some of these inspirational pop songs that we put together here. And I know people in the community are often putting together song lists, but I kind of dig this list a little bit. So tell me what your thoughts are if you have your own songs. Don't Stop Believing by Journey. Classic, tried and true, wonderful, inspirational song. Hold on to your dreams, never giving up. Catchy chorus, everybody sings it. Doesn't matter how old you are. I don't know anybody who doesn't know this song. The day I find that out is the day I'll feel very, very, very old. All right. Firework by Katy Perry. I think that's a good one too. I think it gets everybody on their feet, at least. I don't know that would be one of my go-to songs for inspiration through this, but Happy by Pharrell. That kind of makes me happy. Also not my necessary go-to. I'm a Believer by the Monkees. Great song, not my go-to. That's about finding love and believing in love and all that. And that's great, but not mine. Eye of the Tiger, yeah, you get me in the right mood. Feeling a little Eye of the Tiger. Rising up. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, you know, there's a song by The Greatest Showman, and I can't, This Is Me. I think that became, if anybody knows that song, if you read the words, that kind of became my mantra through all this. And of course, Beyonce, I'm a Survivor. Like, that's a great one too, just the chorus. Do you have any go-to songs, Molly, that you like?
Oh gosh, anything in the 80s is always fun for me. You know, that was our time. And it seems to me that most people, all seemingly generations alive today, love the 80s music, even the younger generation. I don't know what that is, maybe because their parents were in the 80s, but they're just for a happy time and, well, to happy music. I'm more into the tune and maybe the feeling it gives me and the time in which I heard it and the memories of it more than the lyrics. I'm not so much a lyrics person. I mean, I'm always surprised when I find the lyrics and I read about a song. I'm like, oh my God, I used to dance to that. And it's like the saddest song ever or something. So I'm more about, so recently I've been singing in my head, Wake Me Up Before You Go. Because I saw the Wham documentary.
Yes, it was so good.
And it's just a happy song. Whatever it is about, I like that little, you know, that 80s.
Yep. Bebop. Yeah, that was a phenomenal documentary to completely step this for a minute. I had absolutely no clue that he wrote pretty much every song, and they achieved all of that in 4 years, and that was it. I mean, I don't know, it just blew my mind away.
And they remained best friends until they just decided to amicably part ways.
Yeah.
And then sadly after that, he went off the rails. But what a great story that was, if anyone hasn't seen it. But
it was really good.
I have to agree, because Rob and I had this conversation recently about music, and he mentioned the 70s, and the 70s were the great era also for music.
Yes.
But there's some good stuff there too.
You've got America and Bread. I mean, just think about Afternoon Delight. That's a great song. The 70s had such good, just general rock music. And of course, the disco was like, that's my absolute all-time favorite music. Because I could dance for hours to that. But you're right. Something about the 80s. It's just.
Well, a lot of 70s bands carried over into the 80s as well. So it's a little bit. I'd say those 2 decades were just great.
Yes, but I would agree. Totally agree. All right, Joshua, do you agree?
Rob here says 70s was the best. Are you watching chat, Molly?
I am.
Okay, good.
Watching what?
YouTube chat.
I'm watching the chat going on.
He's watching that live happen while I'm playing around with my other big computer here. Okay. Yeah, 70s was great.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I can agree or not. It's hard. I played in symphonic bands and jazz bands when I was in school.
Oh.
And so now I kind of like all music, but I like to listen to music that don't have lyrics because I'm usually trying to think about something.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm a yacht rock radio girl at heart. Give me some yacht rock. I'm in my happy place.
We can agree that all music is good, right? I mean,
right? Rob goes, Rolling Stones, Traffic, Winwood, CSN, Neil Young.
All of the above. Yeah, I hear you. I think that somewhere things went wrong during grunge and like heavy rock hip hop that I didn't understand. And then all of a sudden I woke up and I was like, well, I don't understand what this TikTok music is. I only know 10 seconds and now we that's all I know. So I don't know. I don't even know what popular music is today. I don't know.
Did you happen to see the Tony Bennett special? I believe it was aired last night with Lady Gaga, his last performance.
No,
I mean, his music was just,
timeless.
50s. Yeah. I don't know his era, but boy, that guy was 90-something, 4 years old performing. Yeah. And he had out. That was just a brilliant. If anyone hasn't seen that, that's a good one. And all that music was good times too.
Yeah, I'd like to see that too. Okay, we're moving on to Feel Good Friday because now we're on a feel good topic. And we just wanted to remind everybody, we like to every now and then, but so we have this little thing called Hope Mail. And Hope Mail was actually started when I knitted like these heart-shaped pillows for 4 people in the community. They really liked it. And I knew I wasn't going to become like this major knitter. It just wasn't going to happen. So we raised funds. And once we became a nonprofit, the whole entire initiative kind of take off. And so basically what happens is we like to send you something for free as an acknowledgement that we're proud of you. We're here for you. We're supporting you during your aortiversary month. And I know many of you have had more than one aortiversary that you've designated because you've had 2 surgeries, whatever the case may be. You can only pick one. I mean, we have such great donors out there, but we are limited on how many we can give away in a year. So you pick one date and it's on Facebook and you can go to our photos and you can pick the aortiversary photos and just scroll down until you find the month that's yours. Put your name and your full date that's in there. For this program, this is off of Facebook, and you basically just fill out a form and we'll know to send you something once a month. So we try to send things, 1 month out of the year. We try to send things that we feel are helpful for the community. So as what you see in this picture was a journal. That's great to take any questions you might have to your doctor's office, and a jar opener, because like, who doesn't love a good jar opener? Right now, I think we have these stress balls.
I like those. Those are fun.
I'll tell you what else we have. We have those gel ice packs and hot packs. This came in so perfect when I had my tooth pulled because it was just like the perfect size just to put on my cheek. I mean, I don't know. I kind of dig all the items that we send out. We've had everything from flashlights to your little camera covers on your computer. We did that in 2020. We went a little bit more tech because everybody became on their computers. It was in 20 or 21. So we're always open to some ideas as well. If you have ideas, we'd love to hear them, and just sign up and we'll send you something as soon as your month rolls around. That's Feel Good Friday.
I like the little pill cases, the little keychain pill case. I have, I think two, no, I have two of them, because I won something in bingo.
Yep.
And I use those. If I'm going out and I know I'm going to be past my medication date time,
yeah,
I'll put that, stick it in my pocket, and I'm ready to go. And I love it, because otherwise it would have been in a baggie or just loose in my
tissue.
pocket. Yeah.
Like my mother, she sticks hers in a tissue. I'm like, what is that? Yeah, no, those are always great, because my pill case is very elongated and has separate days. You can just pop them out. But then next thing you know, I look down and I only have Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Where did all the other days go? They're in a variety of pocketbooks. I have no idea. But you're right. The one that we gave out, that's keychain, it's always on there. Usually might have like a Tylenol or two if, I'm not going away anywhere and I can just easily take my pills. But you're right. We might be revisiting that sometime soon. It's a good idea.
It was nice to get that Aortiversary little care package in the mail back in April for me. It just brought me joy. I mean, I just thought, this is coming from the people that really care the most or understand the most. And it felt good. It was fun to open it up and see the little fun in there. Yeah.
Yeah, we love handing out, and they're always handwritten cards too. So there's a lot of people. I think we're upwards over 300 people get that now within the course of a year. So sign up for free and get a little tchotchke from us. Why not, right? It's always fun. All right, that led us to our Survivor series that happened last week, not the most recent. This was with Dr. Mark Ragucci. What a great introduction to Dr. Mark Ragucci. Really made me just want to tune right in.
Yeah.
Written by you, Molly. It was great. New York University physician shares his story of surviving a type A dissection, showed incredible fortitude throughout his recovery. You really should check out this story. It's so rare that you come across a medical professional who has experienced aortic disease with a family member, let alone within themselves. So I highly recommend, if you have a moment, check out his survivor stories. And look, we would love for you to be a part of our series. It's very important to share your story. It's very validating for others. And you can do it a variety of ways. 1, you can send us a written story. 2, you can pre-record your video. Or 3, you can go live like we are now, and then take questions from the community. And that's always a lot of fun. So a lot of different options, but we do thank Dr. Ragucci for participating. That was that Survivor series. We're breezing right through. See, this is exciting. So Smile Amazon did all the nonprofits are dirty. They shut down. What is that about? Not sure. Don't care, because now we're an affiliate. So I personally am an affiliate with Amazon. So looking to share products with the community, and the kickback that I receive goes right back into Aortic Hope. Everything is donated and turned over to them. So we've started off with the items that we feel have the quickest medical impact. And here are some of them. So we have checked out through validatebp.org. This is a website that we know are used by physicians that will show you the validated, highest rated blood pressure cuffs. And so we gave you a couple through an affiliate link that is on our resources side. It's also on our Hope Shop tab as well. But basically, if you click on the links that are there, whether it's that or it's the pulse ox or it's the pill case, we do derive a percentage off of the sale. It's no additional charge to you, but it's another way that you can help Aortic Hope, whether that's through a direct donation or this is an indirect donation. And if there are items that you feel would be very helpful in the community, just send it to us. Send it to us at info@aortichope.org. Include the link to the item, and we'll be sure to upload the affiliate links that you can use that moving forward. Very easy.
Yeah.
Now I've got people sending me things. Look, because you know what, the holidays are around the corner and people are going to start bombarding me. Here's my holiday list and here's all the things I want to buy. Can you give me the affiliate link? And I will very easily do that for somebody, because if you shop, that's an easy way for us to make some money. So you can do that as well. Just be mindful. I'm going to need a little bit of time. So if you want to send me your holiday list for a loved one, go right ahead and do so. I'll be more than happy to create links for you. And you can shop with those links. But that's our Share With You Sunday. It's kind of cool.
It's very, very cool. Brilliant.
Yeah. Of course, I can't shop my own links. It means I have to tell somebody else, hey, I want this pill case. Here's the link. I'll Venmo you the money. That's how it works.
You can't shop your own. That's interesting.
I know.
Oh, well, that's all right. You have lots of friends.
I have lots of friends that'll buy it for me. Exactly. All right. So now we're moving up to the week that I was disgusting and snotty and gross with COVID. And there's a reason why there isn't a Monday up there, because it's a standalone day, and we're going to get to that. I'm kind of saving it for the end. But let's jump right into Tuesday. Again, another great post from Adam Ahmed, who was sharing with us all of the diagnostic testing. We'd already discussed ultrasound, and he was talking about that there's a special kind of ultrasound that lets you see the movement of blood flow using dark red and some of the blue colors. And did anybody remember the name of that ultrasound? Yes, what is it?
Doppler.
It's Doppler. Ding, ding, ding. You are right, Molly. Good for you. I know, for a second I was like, what is it?
Doppler.
Like the corners of my mind. Okay, so as promised for this last week, we were going to continue discussing other modality for diagnostic imaging and monitoring of aortic disease, and computerized tomography. Computerized tomography. That is what CT stands for, computerized tomography. But we're so used to saying CT scan or CAT scan that not many people know that those were the actual two words. And so he included an article from Johns Hopkins that really talks a lot about what the CT scan does. But it's kind of similar to an X-ray in that it produces a cross-sectional image of a body part to help guide doctors through their diagnosis process. But they're kind of much more detailed than your typical image of your X-ray. It actually allows them to visualize deeper and get into the organs and get into the structures and get into the vessels. So the regular X-ray kind of sends a beam at one body part at a time. And the CT kind of moves those beams all around the body. And then now it also uses radiation. But what's interesting about a CT is you can take it with or without contrast. There's your CT donut machine right there. Sometimes the tubes can be a lot longer, but these are typically, they zip you in and zip you out really quickly. So it can be taken with or without contrast. And contrast can be given either in the IV or you might have to drink it. It's really nasty. Kind of like a really bad pina colada, like not one that you're going to derive any fun from whatsoever. But the IV contrast is kind of bizarre too, because it makes you feel all hot in your head and you feel it as it goes down your body, and then you feel like you have to go to the bathroom and then it goes away. It's a bizarre sensation. I don't get them anymore because I've had anaphylactic reaction, and even when I pre-medicated with Benadryl and prednisone, I did it with what looked like second-degree burns all over my body. So I don't get CT scans unless it's life or death. Then maybe I would have one done. But it's so super helpful. It is considered the golden test that people go to determine if you're having an aortic dissection. It is so fast, 5 minutes. You can get your chest, abdomen, pelvic done in probably 5 to 7 minutes. Just zoop, zoop, and that'll tell you everything that's going on. And I think pretty much what we might be looking at, well, that looks like a baseball that someone swallowed, so I don't really know for sure. But I'm pretty sure this one actually had, shows your aortic dissection. Pretty definitive right there. So you have your ascending aneurysm, you have your pulmonary trunk, and a descending aortic flap. It's very thin, but there is something going on over there. Don't ask me, because this looks like teeth. I have no idea. Okay. I'm much better at looking at the MRIs or the MRAs than I am looking at these. But You definitely want to talk to your doctor if they're going to order a CT scan. Now, just because we've had dissections doesn't mean you always have to have a CT scan. For some of us, I think I had 12 in my first year. Now, there's been major hoopla. Oh my God, like somebody said an x-ray is equal to 86,000 packs of cigarettes or something like that. And I was like, oh, this is so irresponsible. That's why you don't read some of the stuff you see on Facebook. There is a correlation between the radiation that is given off from a cigarette. Not even necessarily you smoking it. It's just the radiation that's given off of a burning cigarette. There's radiation that comes around you all of the time. If these CT scans were that dangerous, we would not be getting them. So there's always a cost benefit analysis that takes place. And the reality is the 5-minute test that you're having with the CT to potentially save your life and determine if you're having a dissection is worth however many x-rays it's equal to. But you're getting that radiation, holding your phone up, being in front of your microwave, walking around, solar flare, it's around you all the time. So it's one of those things that when people say it's like smoking, it's not at all like smoking. Smoking is ingesting into your lungs. You can just be around the smoke and it's giving off radiation. So you got to just find a place to have the conversation with your doctor and let them educate you that a lot of this is very alarmist and makes me bananas personally. So tell them it makes Karen bananas. No, don't say that. Just explain, I'm a little concerned about the radiation factor. I've heard that, blah, 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 and let them explain to you why it is relatively safe. The chances of us dying because we've all of a sudden developed a bizarre cancer from a CT scan to help us determine if we're having a dissection, it doesn't really work like that. So what's most important is if you have any reactions to the contrast. So if you are giving contrast and you feel burning or pins and needles or a million bee stings or itching up your arm, that is worth squeezing the little bulb in the machine, because that is sign that you're having some type of allergic reaction, not a side effect. That is an allergic reaction that's happening immediately to the CT, and people need to know about that. And in the future, you can be pre-medicated, and they just need to watch you for breakthrough, like what happened to me. It does not happen to everybody. The majority of people don't have issues with it. And then after you have your test, you want to drink as much fluid as possible to flush the CT dye out of your system. It's very important to try to get rid of that. So
did you develop your allergy as time went on, or had you always?
No. First time I had a CT scan in my life, I was much younger, unrelated to this. I just said to them while I was in there, I feel like I have a million bees stinging my arm. And they pulled me right out and gave me some prednisone right away. And they said, you are officially allergic to CT dye. And I've never forgotten that.
And so but you've had CT since with the allergies, just
so,
pre-medicated for it. Oh.
Yeah, I used to take a lot of Benadryl, a lot, especially if they give it to me in the IV, like if you're in the ER, you're like, put you right out. Yeah. And prednisone. So you're right out with your eyeballs wide open. Like, should I be buzzed or should I be asleep? And that would work. So there's Omnipaque and Visipaque. Those are the two that I'm aware of that are the contrast. Visipaque, Omnipaque. I cannot remember which one I had that gave me the breakthrough, even though I was pre-medicated, but it was definitely a different medication than I had ever had before in my life, but they're in the same family. And once I had that breakthrough, they said, I am so highly likely to have another breakthrough. And I have pictures, and it was painful. It was like 2nd-degree burns with blisters, torso, front and back.
Okay.
So, yeah. So if I can handle it, they would do an echo on me, and if I could have the MRI, and they'll just be watching as it's, because your MRI can take 45 minutes compared to a 5-minute CT.
It's all
you know, but for me, an echo gadolinium is not the same as IV contrast with CT. So if you're allergic to CT, it does not mean you're allergic to gadolinium with an MRI. So these are all really important conversations to have with your doctor, because I am not a doctor. I'm just sharing with you what happened to me.
You're kind of disclaimer one with all these big words.
Visipaque and Omnipaque.
And gadolinium or whatever.
Gadolinium.
Gadolinium. Yes. You know, I found it interesting recently. I went to cardiologist sent me to a new cardiothoracic surgeon that's local. I have one up in San Francisco, Stanford. However, I went in there and he was mentioning to me that he thought, I was looking so good, and that perhaps I could, because of that, I was probably going to live a very long life, is what he was saying. I'm paraphrasing. And he said, that being said, you may want to think about having less CT. So instead of one every year, maybe go every couple of years or something. And I thought that was very positive thought on his part, that why radiate her if she's going to live to 90. Anyway, I took that back to the cardiologist, and he said, yeah, we could do that. However, I'm only 2 years out. And I said, great, maybe down the road, but in these years coming up, I don't want to go much longer than a year. To me, that's my safety net. I want to know as soon as possible if something's changing. But I found that interesting that, that he was willing to go, every other year, every 3 years even.
Which is great. If the only reason was because they don't want to radiate you, I would then counter and say, well, can I maybe switch to an MRA and do the MRI machine versus the CT, so then I, don't have the radiation, but at least I'm having the thorough test.
I believe that was the alternative, was an MRI, cardiac. Is that what a cardiac MRI is?
Cardiac MRI is different than the MRAs, because the cardiac MRI, I believe, actually shows heart and valves in motion. I just had my first one recently because of my valve is failing. And so now I have a echo, and then 6 months later, I have cardiac MRI, and 6 months later, I have an echo. So I'm getting 2 tests within a year, basically, 4 tests in a sense, each one every 6 months. And the cardiac, this was different. This showed like heart movement function. It was very different. I think I'll be going and getting those from now on. So yeah, but so MRIs don't bother me. It's the cardiac was difficult because there's a lot of holding your breath and holding it what felt like I was going to die, holding it for eternity.
Well, it is a long one. It's like 45 minutes to an hour. And that breath holding, the first one I had, they said, I heard the machine say, exhale and hold. And I was exhaling with no oxygen in me for, 10, 11, 12 seconds. And, after 45 minutes of that, I was getting panicky. It was very awful. And I came out of there, I'm like, what in the heck? And he's like, well, they just take a long time. I'm like, yeah, but I couldn't hold my breath. Well, it turned out the MRI was inconclusive because there was too much movement. Because I was going, I could. Yeah. The next one I had, I heard it right. Inhale and hold. I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah. But even with that machine, once it tells you to exhale, and the next thing you know, it's like, take a breath in and hold. I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't even get a chance to just breathe. So the cardiac is a little bit more intense, I think, than a regular MRI. And quite honestly, those MRIs, I fall asleep so easily. They put the spa music in with those earplugs, and I listen to that, and then I start counting them and putting together patterns, and then I wake up. Every single time I start, okay, let's get settled. It's like Pavlov's dog. I know I'm settled in. I got my little thing to squeeze, and they're like, everything good? I'm like, yep, night. You go right out. I mean, CTs are great because they're so quick, but they're so, you're exposing yourself more than day in and day out radiation. So it all comes down to talk to your doctor, just like you had this conversation. I remember one time mine said to wait 2 years, and I was like, hell no. Like I can never psychologically go that long without knowing if there's been a change. And of course, they listened to me and there was a change. But separate from that, these are all about having conversations with your doctor. It's really important. Yeah. Okay. Topic Tuesday. We're almost done. We're getting there. Therapeutic Thursday.
Hold on one second.
What?
Hold on one second. So Chef Rob was talking about how he one time had 2 in one day. And it turns out that they messed up the first one, a head to toe scan, so they had to do it again later that day. They didn't give him enough line to go all the way through the machine, and it ripped out of his arm.
Oh.
Right?
Ouch.
Oh, God.
And so it's Rob. He's giving everybody the benefit of the doubt. He's like, it was January 2nd. I think the texts were a bit partied out. I was yelling at them. It wasn't going to rip out, and they didn't even notice.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
unacceptable.
that's totally unacceptable.
And then he says, they caught hell from the chief of radiology.
You
As
think?
they should.
And they better not have put that into insurance twice either.
I know, right?
Mm-hmm.
But get this. He also mentions that he met Tony Bennett once when he was 15.
Wow.
Right?
That's exciting.
That's exciting. Yeah.
I asked him where. He hasn't circled back yet.
Okay. That's exciting. I met Stevie Wonder once. He told me I was pretty.
Oh.
And I was very confused. All right. Therapeutic Thursday. This everybody goes through. The treacherous what ifs. The master of uncertainty that equals the greatest amount of anxiety, right? So when you find out you're in need of surgery, or even if you're going to have a scan, it's indulging in that what if this, what if that actually leads us down this never ending rabbit hole of worry and doubt, anxiety, the whole 9 yards. And instead of enjoying the present moment, we all have done it. We become trapped in this loop of hypothetical scenarios that might never ever happen. Look, I can do it just because it's a Thursday. I don't even need it to be about my health. Everybody does a what if. Well, what if this? Or what if she said this? Or what if that person meant this? Or what if this tastes better? We do it with everything. I think it's just our need to want to control more. And when you can't, you outgas that what if, right? So some of the things that this post was talking about is the ways that we can flip that script. So when it comes to surgery, and I know these are hard, and I did have somebody be like, yeah, this is a lot easier when you read it than if you try to implement it. I could not agree with you more. But if you want to say, I'm so terrified or scared of surgery, I can't thinking about all of the things that could go wrong. Totally appreciate that. I have no problem sitting with anybody and let's go through the list of every single thing in the world could go wrong. We'll talk about how good you feel when we're done that list. We can do that. But maybe instead of spending time doing that, we just acknowledge the nervousness because that's totally normal. It's not cognitively irrational, but also recognize that you're choosing this physician because you feel very comfortable with them. You wouldn't if you didn't. You trust the doctor. And your job is just to do what you can do to control your situation, which is to remain positive, to try to be stress-free, to create an environment in your body that allows that doctor to do what they do all day, every day, and what they do best. It's so easy to say, I know, but it really is the best win-win situation for yourself. Because if you're just gonna be like, oh my God, and what if, it's going to be very exhausting. You're going to be very stressed out and you have not made any forward motion at all. You're just stagnant like Dino, but people are too young. I don't know who that is. All right. If you want to say, I'm so scared, the pain is going to be unbearable. This is one that I know I have said for years. It only takes one situation in life that creates a lot of pain. And now you are just pain adverse.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. It's like a PTSD. And one of my bowel resections, the first one I had, the way they used to treat you for pain was with an epidural. So I remember waking up thinking, this is awesome. Like I had 7 stitches all the way from my belly button down. I'm like, I'm comfortable. I'm doing great. Okay. So the epidural wore off during nurse change. And it was, to this date of all my surgeries, the first or the second most painful thing I'd ever, and you couldn't find a nurse. My mother was pulling terms of endearment, screaming, just get my daughter some pain meds. And so after that, every other surgery, which were 3 more bowel surgeries before I even get to the age of needing this dissection, my first thing I'd say is I need to talk about pain management. I don't care about anything else except what are you going to do? I need to know what I'm going to feel when I wake up. I need to know that it's managed. And then I had the patient control device, the PCA, I think it's called, or the PAC, the button you could push that would give you your own drugs. I needed to understand, what did that mean? What if I'm pushing it 5 times in a row? Like, will I be just really high? Will I be comfortable? So it's, instead of just sitting there with this, I'm just so scared it's going to be unbearable. Find out the answers to where the fear started from. Understand that there might be some discomfort because you can't cut yourself and not feel discomfort. And maybe focus on the fact that pain management has come a long way. since way back in the day, and that you can make this pact and this plan with your medical team so that you're not in that kind of pain.
Absolutely. Ask questions, because that's the fear, is not knowing. And it may be prior experience, but like I try to take my own advice, which I give to someone who might be going through something very awful, is, what, take it one step at a time, ask questions, get information. And ultimately, I feel like if you're facing something so daunting, just know that it will be over with. You will be on the other side of it. That's for anything I do that I dread or don't want to do. It's like, it'll be over. It will be over, and it'll be as if nothing happened afterwards. But yeah, that anxiety is tough.
Recovery is hard. Giving yourself up to science and saying, you know what, I have no choice. Okay, so I have to have the surgery. I don't really have an option. It's gonna not feel great. Day 3 is probably the worst. Day 3 of recovery, I think, from anything is always the worst. It's when you peak, fevers peak, things peak. It's always the worst. And I think if you can just make sure you've got a plan, like you said, ask questions about it. What if anything changes? What should I do? So just having COVID recently. So before I knew, this was like Saturday, Sunday, I'm testing negative, fevers of 102, the worst sore throat of my entire life. My doctor said, I'm going to give you Paxlovid. And I said, I'm like, I need to go to the hospital. Like, this is just, I'm in agony. Take 2 dosaging, take tonight, take tomorrow morning. If you don't feel better after tomorrow morning, we will definitely have a conversation. So at least now I have an expectation. And then I said to her, so what do I do if something changes? What would be the change that would have me call you or go to the hospital? And she said, okay, your pulse ox is at 93. So I've had one since COVID. I always keep a pulse ox in the house. If it drops below 90, just go straight. Don't call me. Go straight to the hospital and don't call me. If your fever spikes over 103, just go straight to the hospital and just don't call me. I was like, okay, I've got a plan. If this or this happens, I know where I'm going. Otherwise, I can take this, and just wait it out. Okay. The second dose of Paxlovid, which tastes like devil spit, it's disgusting. But within an hour after that, fever's broken, sore throat's gone. And it was like, I felt so much better though, because I had a plan. I knew if this happened and this happened, what to do. And she gave me an expectation, and the expectation was met. So, but again, if she tells me to try to do a headstand, I'm going to try to do one. And I'm not going to be effective, but I'm going to try, because I'll do anything she says. All right. Next one. When you want to say, I can't help but worry about anesthesia, I always say, just make sure I wake up. I just always say it, amongst some other very comical things. But I usually always say, just make sure I wake up. Because what if something goes wrong? Look, it's very normal to have concerns about anesthesia. Look, you are way out of your area of being in control over anything. Your job is just to close your eyes, think you're going to have a nap, and wake up, and you think it's 1 second later. That's it. That's what your job is. But if you go over your medical history thoroughly with a doctor, if you've ever gotten nauseous with anesthesia, if you've ever woken up with shakes, tell them everything. They'll be prepared that when you wake up, you'll have a nice warm blanket. They can already give you Zofran and take care of any potential nausea. Like, if you discuss it with them, you'll form your plan together. And this will put all the precautions will be taken. Everything will be ensured that your anxiety should be able to be alleviated. You're just going to take a little nappy, and then you're just going to wake up. And if you're uncomfortable, they'll be prepared to help you. I do this even with the colonoscopy. I tell them everything that I've ever experienced. And then I say, I would like to milk this falling asleep as long as possible, please. And then I wake up and it's all over. So it's all the same theme here is communication, right? It's what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. It's a big one. I'm afraid I'm too scared to go through the surgery because I might not recover, and I might not have the same life as I had before. These are real. These are real fears, especially when you hear some of the things that have happened to people in the community. It is scary. And maybe what you have to say to yourself, and I try to tell people this, is you cannot look at recovery literally. In some ways, you can't look at it on a day-to-day basis, or you will not see that you're getting better. because you're too in the weeds of not feeling comfortable. You're not sleeping. You're just half out of it. You almost have to look at your recovery in terms of weeks. So write down, it really is beneficial to write down, here's where I feel. And then in a week, read it and see if you feel the same way this next week, or read it 2 weeks later. And I guarantee that you're going to feel a little bit better. And talk to other people and find out what their successful recoveries have been like. What did they do? What were they feeling in certain time periods? It doesn't mean that it's going to be like that for you, but at least you'll have some kind of basics. It's like what to expect when you're expecting. Like, everybody read that book that we're having babies, but it doesn't mean your baby's going to be doing what it says it's supposed to be doing. It's just supposed to give you an idea of other people's experiences. It doesn't mean you run and call the doctor and say, mine didn't make a really full smile yet. It just means it's coming. It's coming. It'll happen. It's just like a little tool book.
It's a little point of reference too. I remember, well, I didn't write anything down during my, weeks and months after my surgery because I just was incapable. I was just flatlined. However, there were pictures taken, family was in town caring for me, and we'd go on a little outing or a walk, and there'd be a photo taken. And I would look at those as the weeks would go on, and I would look back and go, oh my God, I remember that day. My 89-year-old mother beat me at a 1-mile walk. I was going, and then I'd see the next week. And anyway, it was great reference to just see how far I had come, or, maybe days that I had a setback or something. It was just a great, and now it's kind of interesting to look at because it just gives me so much, God, I don't even know the word, just happiness to know that I came out on the other side when I thought this was, I would never be able to sleep on my side again, laying there like that. All these things, time heals it, and it is amazing.
It changes it. It just, even if you weren't able to lay on your side, maybe you were able to lay on the other side, or maybe on your belly, or maybe you learned to love laying on your back. So you're absolutely right, though. You're 100% right. I think that time does heal it. At least it puts it into a different perspective.
Right. It somehow, whether or not it completely heals anything, it changes how you can deal with it, how you can handle it. Like, you almost get used to the new norm or issue. Yeah.
And for those of you that say, I'm just too scared, I think I'm going to cancel the surgery. Look, the surgery wouldn't be being scheduled if it wasn't so super beneficial to your health. No doctor wants to do this surgery that could be anywhere from 5 to 10 hours, maybe more, if they didn't feel very confident that this is going to give you a positive outcome and a better quality of life. They're not just willy-nilly like, let's just do a valve replacement because it sounds like it's a good thing to do on Tuesday. They're doing it because they've assessed the situation. They know that it can improve your health concerns in the long run. And so, again, talk to your medical team. Instead of sitting there with those fears, have that conversation. So it's very important to know that you should recognize your fears and your concerns. Try not to go down the what if, because it would just make you crazy, and take those concerns and turn them into a way to communicate with your physicians or with community members. That's why we have these support group meetings that we offer. Talk to other people who have already walked this walk and get an idea on what their experience was. It may not be yours, but at least you have an idea on what other people have gone through and some tips that work for them.
Yeah, great tips. There's always great tips being thrown around in our little groups, support group or hangouts or otherwise. There's just all fun. It's all not fun, but tips.
Yeah, hangouts are pretty fun. I've been part of that once or twice.
Oh, yeah. Right, Rob? Yeah, we have a good time, and it's just, yeah.
All right. Anything before I move on to the next Feel Good Friday?
No, we're good in the chat.
Okay. Maria Herrera did her second edition of Dissected Healing with Poetry, My Journey of 2 Aortic Dissection Surgeries. This is her second edition. I don't even know what she could have changed other than the cover photo, which is amazing, by the way, if you're watching Maria. What I loved about this book, which I said when we interviewed her to talk about the first edition, is never consider myself a big poetry person. I like Dr. Seuss poetry. So I like poetry that rhymes and has a rhythm to it. Like, that makes sense in my mind. And she has some of that, but she has a lot of it is not, but it is such an easy read. And what I loved about what I read, beyond the story of 2 dissections and 2 surgeries, was her emotions and how she was able to just put it on to paper. And it's different than just telling a story, which is always wonderful to listen to. It's done in just a very unique way. So if you have not had a chance to get a copy of this book, please consider doing so. And Maria is generously going to donate back $5 for every copy that she sells. So again, another way to indirectly help Aortic Hope, but really you're going to help yourself. You really don't want to miss this opportunity to check out the 2nd edition of this book.
That cover is amazing. I was playing around with ChatGPT or AI Bing, I think it was today, and I was actually trying to get the AI to recreate this photo. Like, I can whatever, but it's just amazing. It's just so beautiful. It's an amazing, amazing art, and I'm impressed with the talents of this community too, by way of art, poetry, books written.
There's a lot of very creative people in the community. I think we might have to branch out past the books and start highlighting and showcasing some of the artists,
right,
and the different things that they do, which would be amazing.
Comedians, couple of comedians.
Yeah, we do.
It is a who's who.
I know, right?
Cross section of society, really.
We really are. All right, Feel Good Friday. That led us to this most recent Survivor series this weekend. This was about Tom Swanson, told by his wife, Michelle. And Tom is the type 1 dissection survivor. And what's interesting is they moved down to Sarasota, Florida, your typical active lifestyle type of people. Had a spontaneous dissection one day in the store after being at the gym. And the reason she felt so compelled to want to share her story, which this is an example of a written story, was because it just seemed as though it took 7 hours plus before he could get the right CT scan and they could figure out what he was having wrong. And Michelle is just such a strong believer in that we need to get, again, still more people thinking about the aorta and thinking about what they're looking for on these scans and on these results, because 7 hours is a long time and could have turned out not in Tom's favor. So check out his story when you get a chance. And if you've not been part of the Survivor series, we highly recommend you do so. Not only because it's going to be therapeutic for you, but because it is validating for others, and it does create questions for others to then take back to their physicians. So consider being a Survivor story, being featured in one of those today.
I just love the series. I take it with me when I go on my long beach walks, whether they're an hour or two. I listen to a few, and I am just enthralled by the stories. And I love this series. I think I've almost finished all 65 or 70 of them.
That's wonderful.
There's a few I still need to see. I have yet to do mine yet. I know, Joshua, but I've got reasons. I've got my reasons. But they are so good. They are so good. Enjoy it.
All right, that led us to this most recent Scientific Sunday. So if you've thought about wanting to participate in the community, but you're not really quite sure how, maybe being in one of the research studies is what you need to do. I mean, it gives you an opportunity to help the community at large, and also have a chance to check out some things for yourself too. So Dr. Siddharth Prakash, who is out of the University of Texas, Houston, is still accepting people for their exercise research studies. So there's 3 locations. I believe it's Michigan, St. Louis, and Houston. So you would have to get yourself to one of these locations if you're approved and accepted into the program. But this is, if you've had an aortic dissection, this is going to be for you, because everybody's always asking, what can I do? What can I not do? And as long as it's been over 3 months ago since you've had your dissection, the compensation is available for all of the in-person studies. They are going to fully follow you, provide you with at-home exercise routines, check out and monitor you while you're exercising in person. It's a whole lot of information by clicking on the link there's information here where you can figure out how to participate and get in touch with them today to find out if you can be accepted into the study. So studies are a great way. I mean, I still cannot wait for the results of this study. Yeah, it's gonna be very exciting. I still don't see how we're ever gonna have one plan fits all, because we all have like comorbidities and things, but at least if we come away knowing that, I'm curious to know what percentage of people are slower to start due to emotional situations that hold them back, how many of us are severely deconditioned because of that, and therefore starting becomes even harder. How many of us with the right incentive, motivation, and emotional support behind us might find it easier to actually begin a workout routine? What's the minimum routine that will actually yield positive results? So I have a lot of questions, and we've done this with him. Every time he comes on, we talk to him about it, and I think that in September, when he's back on with us live, it'll be even more information to find out.
I believe there's probably, my guess would be there's equal parts of all those with the emotional issues, you know, the physical setbacks, and those that just went for it. I don't know. It is daunting in the beginnings for sure, but that it helps you heal is good.
I've always found that if I'm doing some kind of working out and someone says to me, okay, I'm looking, your heart rate's responding nicely, your blood pressure, everything is doing what it's supposed to do, then I feel like, okay, so what I'm feeling might not be what I've ever felt before, but I'm not going to die from it. So I can continue doing what I'm doing. You know, it's like I have to have that connection, because if I don't know for sure, then I get very nervous. I easily can become stunted and just not want to do anything. And that's hard, because that's a bad place to be in as well, you know,
because then you don't want to do. I think that's where I found the cardio. I was fortunate enough to go to two rounds of cardiac rehab, and because I was monitored and looked at in a hospital setting, it really boosted my confidence and allowed me to, I wouldn't say push the envelope, but, you know, just do a little bit more than I think I would have on my own. So, getting some encouragement and maybe some monitored or feedback from a doctor as to what you're doing seems to be really important.
Yeah, I would agree. And if you can't get into cardiac rehab, at least try to get into a physical therapy office where they can monitor you as well. Okay, so events. Got a couple more events coming up. We'll have August up in the next few days. So those of you that are subscribed to our website, you're going to get a lot of dings. I apologize ahead of time, but it is what it is. So tonight, again, we are meeting with Tara Cohen, Executive Vice President with Lawrence Hope, and we will be giving away a $50 gift certificate for a lucky viewer. So you've got to participate to try to win. She's going to be showing us all kinds of new designs that are coming out. They're just launched a brand new marketing campaign. So a lot of exciting stuff going on over there. And she wants to battle me again in an 80s trivia game. So I'm almost certain she's going to win, because I have the memory now of a flea. I tried to practice and I was like, I'm going to embarrass myself again, but that's fine. She really enjoys herself. I enjoy myself. We're going to have a lot of fun later tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern. We also have our virtual support group meeting. Last one of the month happens this Wednesday on the 26th at 7 p.m. We're very lucky to have Dr. Ben Udelman, cardiothoracic surgeon out of Maimonides Medical Center. He's going to be joining us as well for the first half. It's really awesome when the doctors join, because they kind of give us that one-on-one time, you know, they can really answer your questions, give you some info on things going on in the community. So if you get a chance, join in with that closed setting. Sign up once, you'll be notified of all of these of all of the support group events, including the Aorta Hangout, which will be happening on Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern. That's a lot more relaxed situation than just your typical support group meeting. It's a little bit more of a hangout, like picture Starbucks and Panera, maybe mixed in with a little bit of happy hour. Who knows what you're going to find in that hangout. And then, of course, we have one more week in review on the 31st. But before we go, Aortic Disease Awareness Month is around the corner. And so I'm not too sure if everybody realized that September is Aortic Disease Awareness Month, and the 19th is the Awareness Day. So some communities recognize the 19th strictly as Aortic Dissection Awareness Day. However, we kind of feel that it's important to acknowledge all issues regarding the aorta, and we kind of feel that it takes an entire month to do so. So if you would like to help participate in this year's festivities, email us a picture of yourself. Maybe it's you and your family. Maybe it's you and your doctor. It's you and your dog. It's just your dog. I don't care. Send us an email, because what you're showing us is what hope looks like. This is our What Hope Looks Like campaign. This is our 5th annual Community Hope campaign, and we are accepting photos through September 14th. And on September 19th, we will show that video. And we do have a link here of what last year's video looked like. We had so many participants. It was wonderful. So basically, just send us a photo and we will go ahead and add it to our What Hope Looks Like campaign. And obviously, by submitting your photo, you're giving us permission to use it on our website, across all of our social media platforms, and possibly share it also on Think Aorta's platform too, and no compensation will be given. So get your pictures in. I got to take one. It'll be me and my dog, I think, this year. That's what it will be. So yeah, so that was our 2 weeks in review, and I hung in there. And I want to thank Chef Rob, and I want to thank Bruce. Who else was Bruce and Rob, right?
Bruce, Rob, Terry Cook just dropped in. She said, "Hi, Karen. Hi, Molly." And she said, "Make sure Karen knows I'm in the airport eating Mexican just for her."
But I like Rob's response. Before your flight, that's not nice. I'd have to agree with Rob.
And
As a
eating Mexican
flight attendant, yeah, no spicy foods.
And I think I forgot to say hi to Rajiv. He popped in to say hi, and I'm not sure how long he stuck around.
Well, hello, everybody. And Molly, thank you so much for hanging out with me today.
It's fun. It's fun to see you.
I love it. I love it. Come anytime you'd like. I love seeing your pretty smiling face.
I'll pop in again soon.
All right. Thanks, Joshua. All right, everybody, don't forget, please click like. Please click the bell and subscribe. Please share this too, because you never know who this is going to impact. The information we share sometimes can go across the board for a variety of illnesses or diseases. And we will be back same time, 3 p.m. Eastern on Monday. Take care. Have a great week. Bye-bye.